Hello everyone. My name is Nathan if you came in late. Um, so today we're going to be teaching you how to CAD, the basics, and how to animate. Also, it would be best if you use the mouse for CADing. It's not necessary, but it'll definitely be easier to CAD. And please follow along while we're working through everything. It's going to be a step-by-step process, so it should be relatively easy for everyone. So first off, we'll be making our Onshape account. So go to https://onshape.com. And once you're on the website, please click sign in. Should be on the top right. Okay, once everyone's done that, click on the sign up button and click on public maker plan, which should be in the category Onshape for makers. Fill out the form with your information. Click on the What Best Describes You button and then choose Hobbyist/Maker.
Excuse me, could you show the first page where to log in or sign up? Thank you.
Yeah. Go to that website and then press sign in.
Is this for free or just for
Yeah,
free trial?
this is free.
It's free, but it'll be limited to certain features, but you get all the basic features that you need in order to start.
Go to your email and then you should have a confirmation email from Onshape and then press activate your account and that should get you logged in already once you press it. Gordon will now teach you the basics of CAD.
CAD Part 1, the basics. So what we'll be learning? We'll be learning the basics of Onshape, starting a 2D sketch, making shapes in that 2D sketch and extruding that sketch. And from there, we're going to have a brief explanation of the tools surrounding CAD. So when you first log into your account, you'll be approached with this main menu. If you ever used Google Drive before, it's a very similar format. You'll have this Onshape logo on the top left corner. That's simply the home button to return you to the Onshape website. Number 2 is your kind of where all your files are located. This is very similar to Google Drive. Number 3 is your different ways to sort your files. This is also the same concept of Google Drive. And number 5 is the access you can do with your files. We are going to be setting our units to inches. So you need to go to your account, preferences, and set it to inches. Now, this is how you should be doing it. So mine has stuff in it because we've been practicing to use it on our robotics team. But what you're looking for is to clicking on your profile icon, go over to my account, and go over to preferences. From here, we're going to set our units to inches and then press save. Mine is already set to inches, so it's not going to allow me to resave. So when we first make a document, we're going to be approached with a blank build area. So on the very top bar, that is going to be our toolbar. That's where all the tools are going to be located, and we're going to be using this a lot. From here, we're going to see our features. This will basically allow us to see each feature we use or each tool we use and edit them.
Excuse me.
Yes.
How do you move from, I'm still in the preference saving, and how do you move to the building area?
Oh, I'm just explaining the build area, but I'll teach you how to get to the build area very soon.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So the features is where all your tools are located. So this can be your sketch tool, your extrude tool, your fillet tool. 14 is after you right click on a certain point. For example, if you don't want to see these planes, you're able to hide it. Next, we're going to be making a sketch. So basically, your box that's not your toolbar or your features or the your parts and assemblies. This is where you're going to be actually building your part and displaying your part. And also on the top right, you can see your model cube. So you're able to navigate your 3D model using this cube in the top right. So we'll be learning how to make today. We're going to be learning how to make a wheel, an axle, and animate it around the axle. So we're gonna be making a wheel with a hole in it, and then this hole's on purpose so you can actually see the wheel spin. It might look a little choppy on your side because Zoom doesn't have high frame rate. So yeah, now let's get straight into CADing. So from here, we're gonna go to our Onshape home menu, and then you should be brought to your Documents tab. We're gonna go press this Create button and press Documents. From here, we're gonna be naming this to Teaching. Well, I'm gonna be naming it Teaching. You can name it Wheel and Axle or whatever, but it's up to you. So we're gonna be presented with this blank build area. All right, now let's get into the building. So in order to make our sketch, we need to obviously use this sketch button. So this sketch button is gonna ask us to select a sketch plane. So what that's asking is to start on any of these planes, which is the front plane, the right plane, and the top plane. From here, we're gonna click on our right plane, press OK. So in order to do our basic movements, if you use your right click on your mouse and drag, you're able to rotate in the 3D space. As you can see, our top right cube, our model cube, is also going to rotate with us. So that's how you rotate. In order to snap to a home view, you can click on the points around the cube. From here, we are going to click this corner of the cube in order to home us to our center. From here, we're going to double click on our sketch and then click the right side on our model cube.
But where do you click to get like that? Because I have it, but I don't know how to click it.
To get to the right view,
Yeah.
we have our model cube on the top right, and then we just click the right side.
Oh, okay.
And that will automatically take us to the right side. Now we'll be creating the wheel. So you can make many shapes with this. You can make your own shape. You can make a square. You can make a circle. You can make a polygon. But in this tutorial, we're going to be making a wheel. So a wheel is a circle shape. So we're going to click on our circle tool. And then clicking the center of our circle. Then we'll be dragging out to however many distance we want. And then we are going to click. And then from here, the box is gonna appear. And then this is gonna be in inches. So we want a 4-inch diameter wheel. This will automatically create a perfect 4-inch circle for us.
Wait, how did you adjust it to 4?
So what you can do after you adjust it is you can just click on this and and you just type in whatever dimension you want.
Okay.
So yeah, that should be fine. But how you would do it was you would click the circle, click the center, drag anywhere, and then you would, in this menu where the circle is bolded, and this box appears, you can just type in 4 on your keyboard, and then it should understand that you want your circle to be 4. All right, so now we're gonna extrude our circle to 1 inch. So we're gonna press the extrude tool while not being in the sketch menu. So our extrude tool is on the top left, right next to the sketch extrude. We're gonna click it and it's gonna ask us to extrude 1 and then select faces or regions. And we're gonna click our circle face, just like that. And then it should say depth 1 inch. So now we're gonna create our hole in our cake so we can fit the axle inside our wheel. So right now we're gonna go click on our sketch tool again. And then we're gonna click on the face of the circle of our cylinder. From here we're gonna click on our right face again. And then this should bring up our circle. And then we're gonna use the point tool to draw a point in the center of our circle. So we're going to click on the point tool when it's highlighted, and then we're just going to click once, and then you should know when you right click and then there's a point in the center.
It's not allowing me to do that.
So most likely what will be happening is that you either didn't select it or you're not in a sketch menu. So let's go back to step 1, which is back here. So what we do is we create a new sketch, and then so we have the sketch menu still here. And then we would select the plane to sketch. So our plane is going to be this face right here. And then we're going to press right. And then we're going to use the point tool and then draw a dot in the center in our sketch menu. So you sketched a center point, basically. From here, we're going to make a hole through our cylinder, and we're going to be using our tool called the hole tool. So once you click on it, it's going to ask for a sketched point to place the hole. And then, so basically what that's asking is, it wants us to click on a point, which we just created on our sketch number 2. And then we're going to click on it, and it's going to create us a perfect hole for us. So we are going to adjust this to 1 inch and then press the green thumbs up or the green arrow. So now we should have a Flintstone wheel.
Can you do the whole part again?
Whole part? No problem. So, how far do you need to go back? Do you have the point on your cylinder yet?
I have the point, but I couldn't figure out how to get the hole through.
All right. So we're gonna click on our hole tool. Okay. So this should not be in the sketch menu, so you don't see any sketch 1 or 2. This is just gonna be in the main menu, and we're gonna press this hole tool. Okay, it's right next to your shell tool, the hole tool. So now it's gonna ask you for hole 1, and it's gonna ask you for sketch points to place the hole. So from here, we're gonna click on our center point that we made, and that should automatically make a hole for our wheel. All right, so now we're just gonna press a green arrow and it should stay. As you may notice, it's kind of inefficient. It doesn't have any round edges, so it doesn't really look like a wheel. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use another tool called fillet. So this will basically round off any sharp edges we have on our model. So we're gonna simply click on it, and then it should give us our fillet menu. From here, we are gonna click on our edges of our donut, our wheel. And then this should create a donut-ish shape. And then we can press OK. And then that should create a more convincing wheel shape. All right, so now we're gonna make our reference point that we have in our animation. Because without it, it just looks like doesn't really look like it's spinning. So for that step, we're gonna create a new sketch. Click it on this plane right here, this face. Press the right side of the cube. Make another point, and then you can put it anywhere on this line. I'm gonna put it around the center-ish. Doesn't really matter. And then you should have a point around this area. From here, we're gonna press the green arrow, and then now you should have a point in the middle of this this side area. All right, now we're gonna go to our hole tool again, and then we're gonna click on our point. But instead of 1 inch, we're gonna make it 0.5 inches, slightly smaller. And then press OK. So now we should have a wheel with the axle hole in it, and also a reference point just for us because we want to see it move. All right, did I lose anyone in the process of making the wheel?
wait, what is the diameter for like the second small wheel?
The small one, I just made it 0.5, but as long as it doesn't block this circle, it should be fine. You can make it like 0.8 if you really want to, but 0.5 is fine. All right, so we're gonna be making the axle now. So that's what the wheel spins around and goes in this hole. So we're gonna be going to insert a new element, this plus in the bottom left corner, and then press Create Part Studio. This will create an entirely new build space for you. All right, from here, we're gonna create a new sketch again on our right plane, and then press the right side on our model cube. And then, so this is gonna go in our actual wheel. So we should have this, the diameter of the hole that we made, the center hole, which is 1 inch. So we're gonna create a 1 inch circle.
Wait, how did you get to the empty thing? Like,
All right, so
I
in
mean,
order to do that, I press this bottom left plus sign to create a new part, and then I press Create Part Studio. They're here. Not assembly, but a part studio. I clicked it, and then I have a new field. It should be up to here. All right. From here, we're gonna create a sketch on our right field again, or right plane. And then we're gonna click right once more. Click our circle tool, click the center, drag out to anywhere, type in 1 inch, and then we should be having a 1 inch circle. Time to make it longer. All right, so we can press OK. Now, does anybody remember what tool we used to make the circle become a 3D model? Or make the circle become 3D? Anyone?
Say Extrude.
That's correct, the Extrude tool. I'm pretty sure you said, right? The Extrude tool.
Yeah.
The same concept as making the cylinder. We just simply press the circle, but instead of making it 1 inch, we want it to make it 4 inches. So your wheel has actually something to spin around. And then we press OK.
How do I go back to the wheel?
All right, so on the very bottom, you should have Part Studio 1 and Part Studio 2. So those are two different parts that we made. So Part Studio 1 should be your wheel. Now I will hand it off to our next presenter.
All right, so your end result is going to be, again, this wheel around an axle. So what you should have up to this point is an axle, which is basically just a cylinder, and a wheel, which looks something like this. So go to the tabs that you use to select the wheel and the axle, and click on Assembly 1. And this should take you to a screen with just a dot. So now, on this tab on the top, press Insert and Part Studio 1, and then click on the check mark. This basically inserts the wheel into the assembly. Now click on Insert again, click on Part Studio 2, and move your mouse to somewhere outside of the wheel, and then click. This basically moves the axle in the assembly. Now simply click the green check mark and you'll have the parts imported. So right now your screen should look a little bit like this. Now if you want to move a part, you can click on it, and then this format will pop up, and you can click on the arrows to move parts. Now, something you might notice is that parts can move inside of each other, and there's nothing like screws to hold them in place. So instead, what you're going to do is have mates, which basically limit the movement of certain parts. Now, the mates are these icons on the top, to the right of insert. Click on the third one from insert, which is a cylinder with an arrow around it. When you hover over it, it should say Revolute Mate. So click on it, and a window should pop up. Now, when you hover over the axle, you'll see 2 white points and then 1 icon. Now, what a mate does is it basically puts 2 mating points together. And mating points are basically these white circles. And the icon is the one that you've selected. So, if you want to line them up in the center, then make sure the icon is in the center of the axle, and then click on it. Now, on the inside hole of the wheel, you're going to do the same thing. Now, this is going to be somewhat more difficult, but hover over it and move your mouse until you see the cylinder on the inside pop up. And then you should see 3 mating points pop up. And then all you need to do after that is line it up so that the icon is in the middle, and then click on it. And what this does is it basically lines the wheels up with each other. So then click on the green check mark, and then on the window, click the X. So by now your screen should look something like this. You'll notice that if you click and drag on this, it can still move freely. So what you want to do to prevent this is right click on the axle and then click on Fix. And what this does is it basically makes it so that you can't move the axle. It's in place. However, you can still move the wheel because of the mate that you put earlier, which allows it to rotate around the axle. The most efficient way to show movement is by animating the mate. So this menu on the left
Excuse me?
shows all of the parts and the mates that you have as well.
Yeah. Can you show me how to lock the part in place?
Okay, so basically right click it, which is clicking on it with the right mouse button, and then you should see an option that says Fix. It should be in the top section of the menu, second from the bottom. And then when you click on Fix, that basically locks the part. This menu on the left basically shows all of your parts and your mates, and what you want to do is right click on Revolute 1, which is the mate that you just made, and then click on Animate, which is third from the bottom. From here you can change the settings of your animation, but for now just click on play. And what it should do is move the wheel around the axle.
Mine isn't moving.
So did you fix the axle? Basically when you try to drag...
Yes, I did press, I did right click it and then press it.
Alright, make sure the values on it are the same as on this screen. Okay, so for animate, just on this menu on the left, right click Revolute 1, and then click on animate, just like you clicked on fix for the axle, but this time you're animating the mate. Okay.
Mine goes to, like, it revolves a certain distance and then it like turns back around.
So what you want to do, if you want to make it revolve infinitely, is go to playback type and then select loop. And what this does is it makes it loop infinitely. You can also select single if you only want it to turn a certain value. So if nobody has any more questions, then this is basically the end of the class, because you've basically made the end result, which is rotating a wheel around an axle. So congratulations, and thank you for joining the class.